Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Kenton Wakes Up. I'm Dr. Kenton. Today is Friday, September 13th, 2024. How are you? Don't get hung up too much on the Friday the 13th, okay? We're mature, grown up individuals, I think. Um, Today, the thought of the day is about ethics and the desire of people to not have to deal with the negative consequence part of their administrative responsibility. Um, yeah, so sometimes students will. The word cheat seems really rough, but they took work that wasn't theirs and claimed that it was. So that's whatever it is, plagiarism, um, academic dishonesty, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it cheating. It's a little bit easier to deal with that. Cheating. Okay, so person gets caught cheating, person pays the price uh, in the grade book, as it were, and then later decides that it wasn't fair, or they weren't adequately warned, or they weren't whatever. And in some cases, as I've been made aware, student will protest that beyond the instructor, and it gets to the department chair, who then, for some reason, instead of taking the side of the instructor, decides to tell the instructor to give the student another chance. And when the student takes their second chance and continues to cheat, the instructor is then instructed by the chairperson to kick the ball into the fairway. Let the student pass. You don't have to give them an A, but let them pass. All right, so I dealt with a situation like this early in my career. I'm pretty sure that none of the people involved are still on campus, and I don't know any names, but even if you wanted to put the pieces together, I don't think you'd be able to figure it out. But I caught a kid red-handed. This is in the days before AI. A kid took several paragraphs from a website and represented them as his own. I found the website, went through all the required documentation for the university's purposes to consider it a an academic dishonesty case where the kid's supposed to earn a 0 for the grade, and on the second occurrence, the kid's supposed to fail from the class. We were at that point, failing the class. And because the wheels of review and justice, or whatever you want to call it, the legal system on campus takes a while to roll around. The sheaf of paperwork I sent to the Office of Academic Affairs, or whatever it was called at the time, they received it. I get a phone call from somebody in the office there asking me if I really intend to report this person for academic dishonesty. And I said, absolutely. The person cheated more than once in class. And I've been made aware through discussing it around my department that this student has done this repeatedly before. And I guess at the time I figured the buck stops here. I wasn't going to allow the kid to slide through our program as a cheater. Well, I was encouraged by the person on the phone to give the person some leeway, show some leniency. This kid probably didn't know better, and I should, you know, withhold my judgment because, maybe they just need a second chance or what. Anyway, I said, I think the person has already gotten an appropriate number of second chances, and it doesn't appear to have made any difference. So I put the complaint forward, and eventually the kid shows up at my office and wonders what it is that he should do because he's got some sort of academic scholarship writing on it through whatever his workplace or whatever the case was, that if he gets an F, he's going to lose his scholarship. So number one, I didn't feel bad. The kid is on a scholarship. Recognize that there are academic requirements, and anyway, I suggested that our program is not the only one in our region that offers an instructional technology degree. And then if you were to, say, transfer to another program before these charges were officially entered onto your transcript, you wouldn't have to acknowledge them. So the kid dropped the program and left. And I don't know what happened, but it's a problem. It's to meditate on it. What is it that as I'm looking back on it now, this is whatever, almost 20 years later, I see that these types of issues won't stop occurring. But the issue is, why is it that so few of them get reported? Well, it's because there are several places along the way that a person can have their case derailed. Much like in our legal system, if you plead guilty and pay the fine, you can adjust how the crime is recorded in your permanent record, or whatever you want to call it. So a person could be accused of a huge crime, but if the evidence is weak or the likelihood of getting a conviction against the person for that crime is low, then the state or the whatever will entertain a plea deal. And with the plea deal, you plead guilty to some lesser charge. Instead of capital murder, maybe depraved indifference or whatever. I'm not an attorney, but I can see how a lot of these things can slide through. Well, you fast forward, and now you're not at the fountain, like at the wellspring. You're downstream. You're sequelae land, and now you're dealing with a person who's been through the process before and has seen how light the punishment is for advocating for things to go a certain way. And so you're not dealing with somebody who's repentant now. You're dealing with somebody who's, what's the right word? Confident that they won't get in trouble. So their behavior doesn't change. They continue to falsify or behave unethically or whatever the case is, and the idea is to kick the can down the road, to pursue whatever the lightest punishment is that the perpetrator is willing to accept. And it's a little frustrating for somebody who, well, I mean, I tried really hard to do all my own work, and I kind of just expect that out of everybody else that I work with. All the students that I teach, I want them to do their own work. Do your own work. Try. I'm not a person who's vindictive. So if you give me something that you made and it's incomplete, I'll give you a lot of credit. But if you give me nothing, or if you give me something that you didn't make and I can tell that you didn't make it, well, that's a whole other thing. So I guess maybe the meditation here is, why does it bother me when somebody else cheats? Well, I don't want the stain of somebody brazenly cheating to reflect poorly on me. I let them through. Maybe that's my own mental illness. I don't know. I used to have a cartoon. I don't know if I still have it or not, but it was, your part of your purpose is to ensure that the students are doing their own work and making a legitimate intellectual effort. But in this cartoon, well, you're not told to act as a gatekeeper, but in your reportage of that person's effort, i.e. the grade on the transcript, you're sort of giving your stamp of approval for people if they pass your class, or if they barely pass, or they don't pass. That these all send messages. Well, this cartoon I had was of a guy who's the door guard at a bank, and it's wintertime, and he's, one of the things that in Switzerland anyway, they have if you go to a ritzy enough bank, there's a person there who will dust the snow off your boots, and so the guy is there dusting the snow off the boots of these people waiting to go in, and it turns out that the guys have guns in there. You can see the guns. But the guy, the gatekeeper, the guard, is oblivious to that, and he's just sort of customer service above all else, And that visual sticks in my mind. That when I'm asked to continually give second chances to the same people over and over and over, it's frustrating that the system doesn't protect. The system seems to protect the perpetrator more than the person who's trying to do their legitimate hard work. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I don't have any. My cup is empty. I've already finished it. It was Signature Select Columbian with Coffeemate. It's my new favorite lately. Anyway, so today's Friday. I've got a couple of meetings this afternoon. But otherwise, please, if you have any control over the matter yourself, don't cheat. Love you, bye.